Hi, welcome to episode 1 of The Female Gaze, a podcast where we talk about all things gender. I'm your host, Katie Wilson, and I'm here with my longtime friend, Noah, who cannot stop giggling throughout this whole thing. Introduce yourself. This is where you say, hello, I'm Noah.
Hello, I'm Noah.
To jump right into questions, I wanted to talk first about body privilege.
Where are my notes?
So, body privilege is basically the idea that women who are plus sized are still looked at differently than men who are plus sized. Men who are plus sized have more body privilege than women because they have, basically they have the advantage of being a man. And women...
What does that have to do with it?
Well, women are... I think a little more expected to look a certain way and to upkeep themselves a certain way that men are not expected to. Both of us are plus size, so do you see a difference in the way you were treated as a plus size person?
I mean, no. I would think that they're pretty much the same. I've never noticed a difference. It feel like I still feel like a fat guy, and I feel, or at least I assume, that it's the same for you.
So, to challenge that idea a little bit, have you ever been treated differently, professionally or by friends or by people that you want to date because you are plus size?
No.
As a woman who's plus size, I feel like it's the first thing people see.
Is it the first thing that people see, or is it the first thing you assume they see?
That's a good question. I think it's the first thing people see, but I'm also obviously more aware of it.
Yeah.
So, going off of that, do you still think that we live in a primarily patriarchal society, or do you think that we have mostly moved past that?
I think as a society we've moved past that. I think, maybe 30, 40 years ago that could be said that we still live in a patriarchal society, but I feel like we've gotten very, the Me Too movement, we have, more female representation than ever before, so I feel like we've kind of crossed a bridge in that sense.
That is true that we have more female representation than we ever have. But in a sense, do you think it is patriarchal in and of itself that we have to fight for female representation? We never have to think about including men in the conversation. And there are, I think, things like the Bechdel test in movies. The Bechdel test is essentially it checks a movie to see if a woman is in the movie without any relation to a man, she's in the movie to be a main character and not just a love interest or something. But those things being necessary, do you think that is catering to the patriarchy in itself that we have to check?
I mean, I can see, I guess, why it might come across that way, but I feel like the playing field's pretty equal now, so that it doesn't really matter, why, but just that it happens, you know what I mean?
Do you notice, when you are in, a group of your male friends, do you notice, misogyny amongst your friends?
I mean, yeah, I could see some things that they say being, construed as, offensive, or...
Is it construed as offensive, or is it offensive?
I can see, why it could be, if you wanted to.
Is it, a good, amount of your friends, or is it,
No, I wouldn't say, all my friends, just, I can think of a few, but I don't really think... I don't think if you're not looking to be offended, you won't be.
Does it affect your friendship with them when they say something sexist or misogynistic?
No, not really.
It doesn't make you think any differently?
No.
Do you think that, like...
I don't think it should.
Do you think, like, you being able to ignore something like that in and of itself is, like, solidifying the fact that we live in a patriarchal society? Like, you get the privilege to ignore sexism against women, whereas women don't really get the opportunity to ignore it.
But I mean, like, that's what I was saying. Like, if you are out looking to be offended and accosted in that sense, you will be. Not necessarily, like, what they're saying is the problem.
So when you're in your group of friends, I assume y'all talk about women.
Yes.
And if they're attractive or not.
Yep.
There's this idea that we have studied that women and men's attraction is very different. Like, I think women tend to see men as attractive throughout their life. Like, a lot of people, like, for example, like, top of my head, like, George Clooney. Everybody thinks that man is still fine.
Strongly disagree for the record.
Whereas women, they have to cater to this image that they can only be attractive as, like, the girl. Like, they have to make themselves look younger. They have to, like, use retinol creams every night to make sure that their wrinkles are gone. They have to keep up with trends. How do you feel about that idea? Do you notice it?
I mean, I feel like a lot of the pressure to remain, like, young looking or, like, kind of, like, seeking that, like, getting, like, Botox and things like that and, like, lip fillers, it seems more internal, like, getting, like, a boob job and stuff like that. It seems like that's something that, and trying to make yourself look younger is more self-serving than anything else.
So you think it comes from more of, like, an internal gaze and maybe, like, a female gaze versus, like,
I think it's more of a
man's gaze?
I think it's more of, like, an insecurity within yourself than, like, somebody being like, you need to look younger or I'm not attracted to you.
But where do you think that insecurity is born from? Like, do you think that is, like, women almost telling each other that, or, like, following a certain trend, like, on TikTok? Or do you think that is, like, from a history of men? Like, I think
that women kind of perpetuate that within themselves. And, like, every woman that I know is on TikTok just looking at, like, new makeup trends and like, what's it called? Like, the skincare routines and things like that. And it seems like a cycle that it just, like women want to look younger, so then they do things to look younger, and then therefore, like, men are attracted to them because they, like, look younger, quote unquote. But I don't think that the two, like, are related. Like, I think that, like, I don't think men are inherently, like, attracted to younger looking women than like men attracted, or women attracted to the same age of man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Going off of that idea, just to bring up an example, I feel like everybody knows about the Leonardo DiCaprio thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
like, dating when he's 25.
Yeah, there is, like, charts showing that this man will date someone when they're, like, what age?
Hey,
like,
he dated Gigi Hadid, and she's, like, 26.
That's true. He broke it. But, I mean, he usually starts dating women when they're, like, 20. And then it's, like, there's, like, a cutoff date. Like, they turn 25. And Leo DiCaprio,
frontal lobe formed.
Yeah,
I
think he is what, like, in his late 40s, 50s?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, him dating, like, these women who are 20 and he never gets past dating women the age of 25. Do you think that there's, like, a problem with that? Do you think that goes into, like, he's attracted to girls, not women?
I think that's a Leo problem. But, like, I don't think that speaks for men as a whole, but, like, I think it's weird. Like, I think that's, like, a weird a weird thing that he's got, but, like, to whatever floats your boat, I guess.
So going off of how,
but also why aren't women his age throwing a bone?
Well, maybe because he's kind of weird.
I don't know. I mean, like, he's got that whole Titanic thing going for him.
Yeah. So going off of like men and women's attraction, do you think that men and women are like equally objectified in like society and pop culture, or do you think that one group,
like sexually?
Yeah, mostly sexually.
Yeah, I would say that they're like similarly objectified. Like, I mean, how many times have you seen Magic Mike? An unhealthy amount, perhaps.
An uncomfortable amount of times.
But like, how is that any different than like, I don't know?
Hey, listen, I watched Magic Mike for the plot.
What plot? But like, I don't think that that's any different than, like, how many times can one lust over like a Hemsworth brother, and how is that any different than me like thinking some model is attractive?
Do you think that quote unquote like harmless objectification, which I don't really think exists, like catcalling, increases sexual violence at all?
No, I wouldn't say so.
You don't think it like relates to it?
No. But
okay. Last question, just because we're running out of time. Do you notice misogyny in pop culture ever? Like, for example, right now Taylor Swift is like a big deal, and like self-proclaimed Swiftie. I think that a lot of the slack that she catches would not happen if she was a man. I think it's solely because she's a successful woman.
I think it's just because, like, when you're watching football, you want to watch football, and you don't really care to see Taylor Swift sitting there drinking and dancing. Like, I turn on football to watch football, so I don't think that it's related to her being a woman at all.
Okay, well, we're out of time. Thank you for coming and talking to me.
Okay.